Hi, my name is Cornesia and welcome to my book corner where I talk to you about books or series that I recently read. This book is called The Secrets Her Man Kept by Loryn, Landon, and girl, it was given to be movie in book form. The female main character had a box of rocks instead of a brain, and it was given Jerry Springer in it. Some moments I did cackle at some parts, but girl, let's get into it. Female main characters' names are Ava and her sister name is Dawn. Male main characters' names are Justin, Shane, Tate, and Troy. Okay, Justin, Shane, Tate, Troy. Yeah. In the beginning of the book, it is Justin's point of view. Justin is, at this point in time, Ava's husband, okay? They had just gotten married. He's talking about how he couldn't get his full rocks off by Ava, so he's hitting up his side nigga to do it, right? He doesn't necessarily say who the side nigga is. It just says the SB initials in the text messages, right? Again, when I said this was Tubi, it's giving Tubi all up and through this bitch, okay? So it's not gonna be like real good writing. Sorry, Miss Girl. But anyways, we get into it, right? Boom. So he's talking about like sometimes, he gets it, sometimes he gives it, blah blah blah. He likes really having sex more so with men than with women, but he just does it. Honestly, he said he loved Ava, but I just think Ava was just his beard, right? Boom. So Ava is talking about how they just got back from honeymoon. They went to Jamaica. They had a time, and she wants to be up under her man, right? They're going back to work now. She's a counselor at a high school, and he is a firefighter. He really doesn't take her job seriously. He just thinks she works for kids. He doesn't even know that she's a counselor. Let's talk about that. And also, before they got married, he had cheated on them. He had did something, I'm guessing was cheating. They broke up, and then they got back together. They got married, right? She took him back for whatever reason, right? Boom. They're arguing now because he's starting to, before when they broke up, it was because he wasn't spending time with her, right? And he was hanging out all times of the night, coming home late, carrying on, right? He promised he wouldn't do that anymore after they got married. And what did he do? He went right back to that hanging out all night. But he wasn't hanging out all night just to hang out. No, he was hanging out fucking and hanging out with his side niggas, right? With SB, right? Boom. So he gets into talking about how him and Tate, who is his best friend, started hunching at when they were teens or something like that. Like they were experimenting with each other, and they've been hunching ever since, right? He didn't know if Tate was hunching on other people, but Tate was known as a womanizer, so he didn't know if he was hunching on other men, but he knew for sure he was hunching on other men. Tate just didn't know, right? Boom. Their fathers were both homophobic, okay? It's crazy work, right? Like, this is like Tales of a DL. That's what the book should be called, Tales of a DL. But anyways, Ava would call Shane and complain about how, like Justin not coming home, carrying on. And Shane would be like, you should keep an eye on him. And Shane would always talk about DL men, right? But for some reason, Ava swore up and down that Justin was not a DL man. It was no way he could be a DL man, right? Boom. Little did she fucking know. So one day he ends up spending the night all night out. He spent it with Shane. He was fucking Shane. Now, when did that relationship start? That relationship started when they had broken up. Remember I told you Ava and Justin had broken up? Yeah, they had broken up, and he had started hunching on Shane. And Shane sat here and said that he felt like he didn't take Ava's man because they was broken up and there shouldn't be nothing between them, and that when he got back with Ava, he felt like Ava in a way took his man. Yeah. Ava still doesn't know that Shane is fucking on her man, her husband. So anyways, Shane tells her, you need to give him the medicine he giving you. Go missing for a whole night, right? And see what he say. Well, this bitch took it far. Okay. Oh, I forgot to mention Kevin. I don't know if I mentioned Kevin. Kevin is a security guard at her job, right? So Kevin's like, are you okay? Because she would come to work frazzled and upset, and he would be her shoulder to cry on. Really, he wanted to push, like, it was obvious, right? But she doesn't see that because, again, she has a box of rocks just clinging around in her fucking head, right? So she decides to go missing for 4 days, and Kevin was the one who paid for her hotel room, right? And then she finally gets home, and before this, she decides to leave. He comes home late, right? And she's like, where the fuck you been at? And he's like, you getting on my nerves. Now, before this, he was claiming that she was insecure, that she was being too clingy, that she was nagging, because he was still coming home late. At first, he was coming home late because he was hunching on Tate. And then he was coming home late again, like a third time in a row, is because he was spending the night at Shane's house, hunching on Shane. And so they get to an argument. He leaves. He goes to Tate's house, I think. And she's washing his clothes, and she finds a condom. She's pissed. Shane tells her, give him his own medicine, and leaves, spend the night out. She spends the night out. It ends up being 4 nights. She comes back. He got her a dog because she said she wanted a dog, and he was like, hell fucking no, I don't want no fucking dog, and yada yada. He ends up getting her a dog, and he's like, see, I bought you a dog, like, you know, this, I'm basically, he said everything. He said sorry, and that basically, you should forgive me because I bought you a dog, and yada yada yada. You see, I'm trying to work on it. So she at first was like, nah, fuck you, and then she gives in. And then, everything is going great, everything is going fine. And, you know, Tate is asking where he's at, and he's like, you know, I can't hang out because I'm in trouble, blah blah blah. Well, he goes missing again. Okay, he didn't come home again. So she's like, what the fuck is going on, right? Somehow, some way, he doesn't know that she has his address, right? Not his address, GPS, his location, right? So she's following his location. She's like, that looked like Shane's house, right? So her sister Dawn did not like Justin whatsoever. She don't like Shane either, really. But she didn't like Justin because of what he did to her sister, right? So she's like, see, I told you, you need to pick better friends, and this nigga ain't shit, right? Blah blah blah. So they get to the house, and she's like, A was like, oh, let's just sit in the car and wait till he come out. Dawn was like, nah, fuck that shit. So Dawn goes to the door. She's knocking on the door, right? She got something in her hand, and Shane opens the door like, what the fuck is going on? So Ava and Dawn like pushes into the house, and they like, Justin, come down here. So Justin, no, they still waiting in front of the door. So Justin comes out, putting his shirt on, zipping up his pants. Dawn goes off on Shane. She's beating his ass. She found a stick or something somewhere, and she's beating his ass, right? And then Ava starts beating Justin ass, because nigga, what? She's pissed. She's like, this whole time, like, I would confide in you about my marriage, and meanwhile you fucking on my husband. Like, you ain't shit, right? And so Justin is like, oh, like, let's talk about this, blah 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 blah. She goes back to the house. She picks her stuff up, and she goes back to her house with Dawn, and they thought that Justin would come back, but he didn't come back. He actually went to Tate's house, right? So Ava picked up some of her stuff and went to her sister Dawn's house, right? And she spent a couple of weeks there. Shane's been trying to get in contact with her, and Justin's been trying to get in contact with her, but she's over it, and she's thinking about getting divorced. Meanwhile, Kevin is slowly encroaching in, and he's on her body real bad, right? So Shane calls her, and he's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it, and she's like, nah, fuck you, right? And Justin is trying to do the same. She's like, no, fuck you, right? So she decides to move into her own house. Kevin, his cousin Troy, and Dawn helps her get her shit, the rest of her shit, from the house she shared with Justin, and move it into her own townhome, right? So she lives like across the street from her sister, right? Boom. Across the street and basically she lives down the block from her sister, right? Boom. Troy starts liking Dawn, right? However, when Dawn calls Troy's phone to ask him if he want to double date with Ava and Kevin, his baby mama answers the phone, Monica, and Monica is off the rocker. She calling her a bitch and everything, and Troy did not tell Dawn that he even had a child in the baby mama. Like, he didn't tell her none of that, so she was over him. She wasn't really fucking with him, right? So anyways, she takes Shane. Shane calls her, like, I'm really sick, I need you to take to the doctor. And she's like, okay, fine, boom. He goes to the doctor tells him that he has HIV, right? And so Ava was pissed immediately. She's like, oh, nigga, you better hope I don't got this shit, right? So she goes to get tested. She's negative. She doesn't have it, right? And then she gets a call from the hospital talking about Justin had a accident at work and to come in, right? Because they didn't want to talk about it over the phone. However, they're still going through the divorce, but yeah, they're going through the divorce. I don't think Justin got the papers yet, right? So she goes to the hospital and she sees Tate there and Justin there. It wasn't anything too crazy. He had a cracked hip and he needed to get surgery with that. Boom, boom, boom. So she's like, okay, I see you not in any like dire situation, so I get the fuck. And he's like, wow, you not gonna stay and help me? Help you, nigga? What? This nigga had nothing but audacity throughout the whole book, okay? And Shane as well. So anyway, she tells him, yeah, you should talk to Shane. Like, have you talked to Shane? He's like, no. He was like, well, he got HIV, so you should get tested. Tate jumps up and said, fuck you mean? Like, he was like, are you kidding me, right? So Dawn's like, oh, so y'all fucking too? That's crazy. Like, who else you been bumping booties with, right? Pussies with. What y'all fucking call them. So boom, they leave. Ava and Dawn leave. Dawn says she's not really fucking with Troy, blah blah blah. So they end up going on a date anyway, right? Kevin, Dawn, and Ava, right? They convince Dawn is actually very smart. She uses her intuition, but she allows other people to talk her out of that shit. It makes it sound like she's crazy. She allowed her fucking sister with a fucking box of rocks clinking around her head and that nigga who just wanted to get in her sister's pussy to convince her to give Troy another chance after you done already seen the fucking red flags. She decides to give him another chance. They start hunching, right? She finds out she's pregnant, okay? She goes and she's telling Troy, yeah, I don't know if I want to keep it. He's like, why? Because she's like, we just like started hunching, like that's crazy work. And he's like, no, you should get my baby. Right, boom. Well, let's get back to Shane. Shane had to tell all the people that he had previously fucked on that he had HIV, and some of the other people that he had previously fucked on came back positive, right? So one of the guys came to his house, right? He's like, you fucking fucked up my life. Shane possibly had HIV for a very long time. He just did not ever get tested. I gave my wife HIV and she was pregnant. She went and got an abortion. You ruined my life and ended up killing him. Right. So boom, we head right back over to Ava and her man. They were able to get the divorce pushed through, even though Justin wasn't trying to sign the papers because he had HIV and he was cheating, right? Boom. Ava has no idea that Shane was off. Dawn is now 8 months pregnant. She's going to her store, wherever. I don't know what she's doing. She's going somewhere. Monica catches her, stabs her in the stomach, stabs her in the chest. She gets to the hospital. They lose the baby, and she ends up making it through. Dawn ends up making it through. Then Monica ends up going to prison for life. So now she has to raise TJ, which is Troy's son. Boom. Tate and Justin's dads both find out. Well, Justin's dad finds out that he has HIV. He's upset with him, but then Tate and him ends up getting like back cool, after Tate finds out that he had HIV and he was fucking on another nigga, yada yada yada. They end up getting back cool to the point where they start hunching because Justin finds out, he's at stage 1 and he can still have sex as long as it's with condoms, right? Well, they laid up. Justin's daddy pops up in their house, in Justin's house, and beats Justin's ass. And he's like, I'm gonna tell Tate's dad. So Tate's dad finds out and he just cusses out Tate. He doesn't beat his ass like Justin beat his, right? But they're still working it out, and he's like, I'm finally getting over Ava towards the end of the book. Both Dawn and Ava are both married. Ava is married to Kevin, and then Dawn is married to Troy, and they are both pregnant a couple of weeks apart, and that is the end of the book. When I say it was just, that's why I said DL Tells should have been the name of this motherfucking book, because girl, I wanted, like, some parts had me cackling, but other parts it was like, damn. And it was really upsetting me that Ava was slow as hell, and it definitely upset me that it rubbed off on her sister, because her sister was smart and understood the assignment. But they try to say, oh, you're manless, you ain't gonna ever have a man because how you walk around. And she knew that niggas wasn't shit, and she allowed her sister to convince her otherwise, and she damn near lost her life. And then she married a nigga, but that's neither here nor there. That was the book, y'all. Now, don't forget I said it was given to me. Okay. Anyways, if you read this book, comment down below. If you have not read it, go read it and come back and tell me what you think of it. If you could like, comment, and subscribe, I appreciate it. Okay, bye.